Hey guys, if you're new to brain retraining, this video right here is going to be your crash course. And if you're pretty well read up on it, then this video will serve as a way to further drive home those core components of brain retraining that are so important and make sure that you know them and understand them just down to the bones. And give you some ways to simply and easily explain these concepts to other people because let's be honest, this is a really challenging thing to sum up to people in our lives when they're asking about what we're doing for our recovery. And there is a mess of information out there, and this information overload can often be what keeps people from recovering. So I'm about to make this all really simple. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 essential things that you need to know about recovery from conditions like ME/CFS and long COVID when nervous system dysregulation is at the core of what's going on. And we are seeing that in a alarming number of cases that this is in fact what is happening. And I lived with ME/CFS for 10 years before fully recovering. And then in that 5 years since I recovered, I have made hundreds of videos on this topic. I've interviewed over 200 people to hear and share with you how they fully recovered from these conditions. I've interviewed many doctors and experts and researchers in the field to hear the latest cutting edge science on this topic. And I've read all the books myself and listened to the podcasts and even written my own book and started my own podcast on this topic. As much as anybody is right now, I am up to speed. And I'm excited to just break this all down in a very simple way so that you can have the tools and a starting place that you need to work on your own recovery as well. Okay, the first thing you need to know is that anytime you have symptoms, anytime symptoms exist in your body, they are there with a purpose. I used to think that symptoms just happened, like they were an inevitable byproduct of being unwell, that these illnesses would come and those illnesses would cause symptoms, or you get injured and that knife that cut you caused pain. But what is happening is that the symptoms aren't there by accident. They're always there as a warning. They're an alarm bell. It's to get your attention that there's some sort of danger happening. The second thing to understand is that symptoms happen because of both emotional and physical threats. Most of us do not think of emotions as being threats, but our brain and our nervous system perceive emotional threats. So really strong, scary emotions in the exact same ways as they do physical threats. So things like rage and shame can set off those alarm bells in your body because ultimately, we are designed, we are meant to thrive in a world where we live in communities, and being a part of that tribe is really important. And if we're running around like a ball of rage, or if we have all of this shame because something's wrong, we think, with us, expressing that could be harmful for our survival. So it's processed the same way in the brain, and the brain has the same arsenal of tools, symptoms available to alert you that this is going on. And a piece of this is that these threat assessments, whether emotional or physical, they can be real. It can be a miscommunication. You've probably heard this story before because it's the best one for showing miscommunication for physical threats, but it's the construction worker who got a nail in his boot and he stepped on a nail. He's screaming in pain. I'll tell you the very short version in case you've heard it before. Goes to the hospital. They remove the boot. There was no damage. The nail went through the toes. As soon as he saw that his foot was fine, he was no longer in pain. And the same thing can happen with our emotional threat assessments. Sometimes it's an accurate one, sometimes it's a miscommunication, but in either way, one of those two things are at play. The third really important thing to know about this is how symptoms go away. Like, how do we make them stop? So our symptoms go away when our brain and nervous system have assessed that there is no longer a threat. When there's no longer a threat, there's no longer any sort of danger, then they turn the symptoms off. No need for alarm bells, the symptoms stop. The fourth really important thing to know is that in many cases of conditions like ME/CFS and long COVID, even though symptoms have a purpose, even though they exist for a reason, these symptoms persist long past their point of having any function or purpose at all. It's as if they are stuck. There is because of neuroplasticity, some new pathways in the brain have formed. There are new connections saying that all of these things in your environment equal danger. And you're having all these symptoms, even though they're not protecting you or helping you or really alerting you to anything at all. The fifth important thing to know about this is that we reverse these chronic health conditions, or we turn these symptoms off and allow you to feel better with brain retraining by doing three specific things. The first is education. So you need to understand what's going on. You need to understand everything that I'm talking about here. So good job. You're doing that right now. The second is to send messages of safety to your brain and nervous system, because messages of safety are ultimately what turn these symptoms off. However, you could sit alone in your room saying, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe all day long. And that's probably not going to be enough to have the symptoms go away completely. You might see some improvements, but it's not going to be your long-term fix. The third important component of brain retraining with this is to slowly start resuming normal activity, because the fastest and best and most long-lasting way to rewire those pathways in the brain is through experience, is through your behavior. It's by showing your brain and nervous system that it's okay to sit up. It's okay to walk around. It's okay to vacuum the house, to drive the car, to go for a walk, to go to the gym, to go back to work. And each one of those things is going to be a rewiring experience. So without going out and doing these things, you're not going to fully get to where you're trying to go. The sixth important thing to know about brain retraining with these conditions is that you're going to have to feel worse in order to get better. Having these symptom flares are an inevitable part of the recovery process. There is no getting through this without feeling some symptoms. And you need the symptoms. They are actually your retraining opportunities. And having symptoms shows that you're slowly bouncing out your boundaries and trying new things. You don't want to try and do everything all at once. If you used to run marathons, don't get up and try and run a marathon, because your alarm systems in your brain and nervous system are just going to shut you down. It's too much. It's too scary. It's too fast. It wants to keep you alive. But having these symptoms is your chance to get past this. And one person I talked to, a lot of people I talk to talk about how they are grateful for the symptoms. And ultimately, this is where you're trying to get to, which I know is a big ask. But when they come on, these are your chances to retrain and your chance to get past them. And when you have these little symptom flares come on, it shows you, like one person said, yes, I earned this. Like, it's like going to the gym and being sore after. It shows that I'm going out and I'm expanding my activity and I'm doing new things. And I'm going to have this period of feeling unwell after, and that's okay, because slowly it's going to go away. And slowly over time, it's going to take more and more and more activity to bring on symptoms. So whereas 1 week, just walking around your home brought on symptoms, in time, it's going to be running a few laps around your block before you get any symptoms. And you're going to be able to do more and more and more. And as you see that trajectory and you see that it's working, it really helps you to be at peace with everything that's going on and just trust the process and know that you just got to keep doing it and keep putting in the reps. And you're absolutely going to get there. And the seventh thing to know about brain retraining is that you don't have to do it alone. Virtually all of the information is out there. You can find everything you need to know from me alone for free in various online spaces. If you dig, it is all absolutely there. However, with support, you can definitely speed up your progress. I recently started snowboarding and I had one really rough season last season, and I watched all the videos and all the gurus on YouTube, and I'm like, I get it. I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to do all the things you're telling me to do, but somehow my progress is so slow. And then this year, first time out at Lake Tahoe, I paid for an instructor, not cheap, but at the end of that 3-hour lesson, I said to him, I improved more in this 3 hours than I did all of last season. So you can absolutely doing it on your own, but you don't need to. And things are definitely always easier with support. And if you are ready for this science-backed paradigm shift in recovery and looking for some additional support, and my approach and the way I do things resonates for you, I invite you to come join me in my Brain Retraining 101 course. There is information in the video description. You can see what all the lessons are and a link to go check it out. And we have weekly group coaching calls, some of those that I do myself. So if you do join, I really look forward to having the opportunity to meet you and get to talk to you in person. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my course.